Hi Claire, my name's Emily and I'll be your midwife for today's appointment. How are you feeling today? Hi Emily. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm just tired, but we're getting so close now and I'm getting really excited to meet my baby. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you're doing well. Is there anything important that you would like to get out of today's visit? Nothing specifically. I'm just keen to check on my baby, and I also have a birth plan that I'd like you to look over for me if that's okay. Yeah, of course. Firstly, I've just taken a look at your test results from your 36-week appointment, and I'd like to discuss the results of your GBS screening. So the swabs come back positive for the GBS bacteria, which means that at the time of the test, you had the bacteria present in your vagina. This is something that's really common amongst pregnant women, and around 1 in 3 women will test positive. It's not something that you need to worry about, but I'd like to run you through the result and your options so that we know how to best support you in labour. Oh, okay. I've had a couple of my friends test positive before too, but I can't even remember. Can you remind me again what GBS is? How did I get it? Okay, so GBS, or group B strep, is a type of bacteria that lives naturally in the body and is commonly found in the vagina. It is not a sexually transmitted infection, so you didn't catch it, and it typically isn't harmful to you, but during childbirth it could be transferred to your baby. While most babies who are exposed to GBS remain healthy, there's a small amount, around 2 in every 1,000, who get really sick with an infection known as early onset GBS sepsis, which can be life-threatening. There are certain risk factors that can increase the risk of transmission if you have your baby early, if your waters break and you don't go into labour right away, if you develop a temperature during labour, or if you've had a previous baby with a GBS infection. Okay, that doesn't sound as bad as I thought it was. What do I do during labour to prevent my baby from catching it from me? So to reduce the risk of transmitting GBS to your baby, the New South Wales Health Guidelines recommend a continuous infusion of antibiotics during labour. This would mean having a cannula inserted and having an IV drip of fluids and the antibiotic running during your labour, ideally starting about 4 hours before delivery. Penicillin is the most commonly used antibiotic, but there are alternatives available if you know you have any allergies. This is the recommendation, as it's been shown to significantly reduce the risk of your baby developing early onset GBS. That sounds really different to how I imagined my birth would go. I really didn't want to be hooked up to any drips or anything. Can't I treat it now so that it's gone before I go into labour? So because GBS is transient, which means that it comes and goes in the body, treatment is most effective when done during labour, when the risk of transmission is the highest. Antibiotics given to you now wouldn't be able to provide you with the long-lasting protection that we would want. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Are there any risks associated with the antibiotics? Yeah, so very rarely, some women will have an anaphylactic reaction to the antibiotics. If you're aware of any allergies, particularly to penicillin, it's best that you let us know so that you are able to have a different type of antibiotic. I'm not sure if I have any allergies. I think I'm just apprehensive to expose my baby to such a large amount of medicine so early in their lives. What would happen if I declined the drip? Absolutely. Remember, this is your body and your baby, and any choice that you make is completely up to you. These are just the recommendations that we follow, but you always have the final say. If you decide that you wouldn't like to have the antibiotics during labour, your baby will be closely monitored for afterbirth for any signs of infection. Around 90% of babies who contract early onset GBS will present with symptoms within the first 24 hours of life. So it's recommended that you stay in hospital for monitoring for this period of time. I know that this is a lot of information, but I can give you some resources to have a read up on GBS, and you are able to make a decision right up until you go into labour. Just know that we're here to support you and answer any questions that you might have. Okay, cool. I'll definitely take those pamphlets home, and I'll have a chat with my partner and a read up, and then we can go from there and figure out next steps. Yeah, that sounds great.